Let's do number 2. Graph the system of linear equations to find the solution. Okay, first equation, plot b equals -1. We look here and we see that b is not -1, it's -3. So I made a mistake. Let's change this -1 to -3. And we go to the x-axis, or do we go to the y-axis? That's right, we go to the y-axis for the y-intercept. Because it's negative, we go down 1, 2, 3. Now plot the slope. It says graph m equals 1 divided by 3. Where did they get that from? Here, because it's in the m spot. How do you graph that? Well, if 1 is at the top, 3 is at the bottom. I know some of you may say, do I put that one over 1? No, it's already in fraction form. So what do? Start with -3, the y-intercept, and we go up because 1 is positive. We go right because 3 is positive. So up 1, right 3. And we continue that pattern. Up 1, right 3. Now, I need to graph this side, so we do the opposite. Instead of up, we go down. Instead of right, we go left. And I'm counting the boxes. 1, 2, 3. And I'm placing the dot at the end of that box. Again, down 1. You can also use loops. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay. 1, so you can see that I'm looping. Can y'all see that? Yes. Yeah, I looked up. You can see it. Loop. Loop. I felt like I was in class for a moment there. And Miss Pierce made a mistake. What did I do wrong? I did not go down 1. You know, sometimes mistakes are good because they're teachable moments. So let's fix that. Go down first. And now go over 3. 1, 2, 3. You see the difference in the 2 dots? See now, because we have a ruler, remember we picked up our rulers earlier, when you go ahead and line it up with your straight edge, if you don't have a ruler, use your ID. If you didn't get it when I told you to on the first one, use your ID. When you draw it, look how it perfectly lines up with the ruler. Look at that. This one, did it work with the line? So when you're graphing by hand and you see points that you drew that don't line up with the ruler, you probably did something wrong. So this was actually a really good mistake. It was a teachable moment. And if you look at what you finished and what was already done, they are exactly the same with the exception of arrows. We have finished graphing the first equation. Now we need to move on to the second equation. Let me focus. Watch your eyes, it's gonna focus it. Okay, that is a lot better. Let's go ahead and look at the second equation. It is not solved for y. So, for everybody that said, oh look, this is m, this is b. You can't say m and b are visible in the equation until they are solved for y. They have to be in mx plus b form. So if I write y equals mx plus b above the equation that you tried to just go ahead and say 2 is m and 4 is b, you would see that they're not in the right spot. When you put them in the right spot, then you can say, I see m and b, but not until then. So what we have to do is move this 2x on the other side, because that's what y equals mx plus b looks like. Y sits on the left side by itself in this form here that I've written it. And I only say that is, because sometimes you can have it on the right side. But in this example, y is on the left side. And it sits by itself. And right now, y is not by itself, so move it. How do you move it? He's positive. How do you get rid of it? You subtract it. Now, when you subtract, it becomes negative 2x here to make it disappear, and negative 2x over here to reappear. But I want you to notice what I did. I kept them separate. That is not 2. You cannot subtract a number with no letter with a number that has a letter. Now, I could get into vocabulary, but this is not a vocabulary lesson. I just want to get through this. I will post a video on vocabulary. That is called a constant. You cannot add and subtract these two. They are not like terms. Negative 2x plus 4, because 4 is positive. Now I see M, now I see B. We want to plot B, the y-intercept, on the same coordinate plane. Okay, for those who are saying, what? On the same graph as equation number 1, so that we can see where they cross. So B is 4. We know to go to the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4. We are going to plot the slope. It is negative 2, not in fraction form. Put it over what? 1. Are we putting it over positive 1 or negative 1? Positive 1. So we are going to go down 2 and right, not left, but right 1. We continue that pattern. Down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. Hey, down 2, right 1. And then when you finish and you connect using your ruler, let me model this for you. We need to go the other way. Up 2 and left 1. We do the opposite. Again, that was up 2, left 1. You use your ruler and you connect. Put your arrows. And what do we see? They look exactly alike. Okay. What is the solution? Well, this is the x-axis, and we know when we write the solution, the x will go first. So, 1, 2, 3. Aha, that's correct. And then we come down on the y. 1, 2. Negative 2. Now look, it matches. It's where they cross. I have the solution. Hey now, I am excited. I got it right. Okay, don't hate. Let's look at what it says down here. When you look at the tables for this solution, for this system, what do you see? Okay, 3, negative 2 appears on both tables. And that is what is supposed to happen when it is the solution. Now, mind you, there will be a time when you look at the tables and you do not see the solution. My question to you, does that mean that the solution, they don't have a solution? That they don't share a solution? Anybody know the answer to that question? Well, I'm going to take one of the homework assignments from one of my students. I'm not going to reveal who it is. I'm going to show number 9 on this homework assignment. It was classwork 6. We talked about this. And look at her work. She did an awesome job. I can use this. On number 9, the table below represents a linear system of equations. What is the solution? We don't see the solution. Nothing matches. So don't say it's not there. Oh, it is. There's more work you have to do to solve this problem. And what we did some shortcuts. We did menu 613. I'm going to write on her paper. She's going to know that I used her paper on the video. Menu 613 gave us the equation for this, and it was y equals negative 1x minus 3. And then this one over here, we did it, and it was y equals 3x plus 5. So, make that a plus sign. That should have been a plus sign. Okay. Anyway, so now given these two equations, we can do what we're doing right now. Graph them by hand and see where they cross. Or we could tell the calculator to do it. And look what happens. Well, I'm saying look, but I'm not going to show you because I want to get back to the lesson. But anyway, when you graph them and they cross, you will see the solution. You will see the solution. And the solution was -2, -1, which was actually the same answer for number 8. They're actually the exact same systems. I just didn't tell you that. But I wanted you to see when it's on the table, what it looks like, and what happens when it's not on the table, how to figure it out. Because this is the question to focus on for the test at the end of the year. Okay, moving on back to what we were doing. So now we know the solution, and we see here that it is 3 -2 looking at the table, and we know that it's not always going to be visible, which doesn't mean that they don't have a solution. You just have to do the work to find it. On the last example, I showed you how to plug this in. I do want to do that on this one just for practice. So y equals 1/3 x minus 3. Let's plug in x, which is 3. 1/3 parentheses 3 minus 3 equals. Now for those that are saying, Miss, I don't get that. Okay, this is 1/3 of 3. That just means 1/3 times 3 over 1. That's 3 and 3. Anything over itself is 1. So in a nutshell, this is 1 minus 3. And if I have 1 and I need to take away 3, I need to borrow 2 from somebody. That puts me in the negative. And look, y equals -2 when x was 3. So it works. Hey now. Let's do the same thing over here. Y equals -2x plus 4, and I plug in my x, -2 x, times 3 plus 4. So I brought down my -2, I plugged in my 3 because that's x, and I did plus 4. So let's figure this one out. -6 plus 4 equals -2. Y equals -2 when x was 3. It works. It's supposed to. That means this is the solution to this problem and this problem. That's where they cross. Okay, that's problem number 2.